Good afternoon and welcome to our continuing series of interviews from the Hacking Home team. Today we have our guest Eddie Phillips, and he's the chief cook and bottle washer at Shield Networks, a cybersecurity firm. Eddie is a cybersecurity evangelist, so if you're on LinkedIn, you can often catch his video presentations there, and they're very informative. And in these days, it's pretty important to stay on top of this, which is why Eddie's here today. So you have a cybersecurity company.
That's right.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've been involved in IT for a long time, 20 plus years. But as far as cybersecurity goes, it's really been an evolution because I quit my day job. I used to work for HP and a company called EDS before that, and a couple of different Fortune 500 companies. Mm-hmm. And when I started my own business, cybersecurity back in 2008 was a thing. You needed antivirus, but as we grew and we got bigger clients, it definitely became a bigger and bigger requirement and a platform service that we had to offer. And then over the last probably 6 years, things have exploded so much that we've really had to specialize in it. We just had to.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you get started, with your current company now?
Oh, so Shield Networks is actually a merger of a few different companies. So I had my own company that I started back in 2008 called Rep4 Technologies, and we merged with a company called Stream Networks, which is actually a merger between an ISP mm-hmm. and another IT service provider. Now we strictly do cybersecurity and cybersecurity type IT services.
Right, and I had experience with you previously when you were Rep4. We got you to fix up some of our little network problems. Very minor in comparison to what you're doing these days. So I appreciate that. And then how did you get into this? Like, how does somebody get into cybersecurity?
That is a fantastic question, because there is such a huge shortage of people right now that have the skills. Mm-hmm. Right now, that your best bet is we're actually partnering with, I'm partnering personally with MITT, the Manitoba Institute, and so they're actually putting a program together for teaching cybersecurity, to get either IT professionals or even someone who's not even into IT to kind of get them rolling. So that's probably the best way right now.
Oh, good. So yeah, I want to just mention there's a bottle of whiskey here on the counter, but this is because I'm trying to get Crown Royal or Diego to sponsor our our interviews, but also I'm trying to get Eddie the job of handling cybersecurity for Diego, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to get into those whiskey networks and start a shipping contract to their own residents. And so
I've definitely partaken of a few bottles of Crown Royal. Yes,
that's the Northern Harvest, which is
one of my favorites.
The top award winner. Let's put it that way. I digress, but anyway, yeah. So I know, like, being in business is, it can be all-consuming, time-consuming. Like, what drives you and motivates you in your business?
So that's a really good question too, and I think personally, the root of my answer probably goes back to why I started my business in the first place, is because I really, for years and years, I worked for very large corporations, and it was very impersonal. I love the work I do. I love doing cybersecurity, and I love working with computers and the program and all the things I was doing before, but there was a real distance between myself and companies that were out there and who I was doing the work for. And I really wanted that relationship. So that's where that started. But now, and I don't like to use this term very often, but it makes me angry to see the cyber criminals out there take advantage of businesses that are just trying to employ my fellow citizens,
Sure.
They're trying to grow, and to have someone intentionally go out and attack them really disappoints me.
Like cities and hospitals and things like that. It's just
police stations, municipalities, mom and pop store. Like, it's just it's really, really sad. So I think what drives me now is just to see them succeed and to fend off those sort of attacks.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see, like, the most risk for, say, average people? Like, what is the best? Like, most of my viewers, hopefully, are probably just going to be people like myself, or have got a computer or two kicking around the house and things like that. What is, like, I mean, we don't have a I mean, if they're getting hacked in some of these big companies what, for example,
So the big
FireEye
happened,
and
or what's the credit bureau when the big one that happened last year?
oh really? Oh yeah, CBE. Oh, yeah.
So and then I mean CRA, right?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of scams.
Yeah, and that's why you can't get an email from the government is because they have to keep that they have to keep their servers isolated. But even things on disks and have caused problems, right?
So I think what we really need to keep in mind is there's really two types of hacks, quote unquote, and there are the targeted high-profile attacks that we're talking with the FireEye thing that just happened. A municipality, there was a huge one in Texas last summer where an IT service provider got infiltrated and then they were able to attack all their customers. Mm-hmm. Those take a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of manpower. They're very expensive from the attacker's point of view. But then there's the everyday, small business, you and I that have computers at home, mm-hmm. and those are very automated. So those are a very different type of attack, and there are ways to actually protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know, like I've sent some money to a Nigerian prince, but I've yet, I haven't received any return on any of that. So
he must be waiting for the right time.
Well, I think with the COVID, it's been delayed. So
I suppose so. Yeah.
I've had to fund a little bit more on that side since then. But yes, but yeah, that kind of thing. Like I mean, I have I've used say Norton 360 and LifeLock. Are those good investments or?
Yeah. They are, so I definitely, recommend having some sort of an endpoint protection software like, Norton, McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
Sophos makes a great one. Sentinel-1 is phenomenal. So there's some recommendations, but it's not, 2005 anymore where that does the job. There's more to it now because the attacks are so targeted. You need things like two-factor authentication. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
sure.
For those people who aren't, it's where you need a secondary code on your phone in order to log in. So a user ID, a complex password, and your two-factor authentication goes a long, long way to protecting things like your email, Amazon, or all the different your banking. Absolutely, your banking.
Yes.
That and just being aware of all the different scams that are out there, and a lot of it, almost all of them start with a phishing scan, which is basically an email that looks like it comes from someone you trust. Looks like it comes from your bank, or it looks like it comes from the CRA.
Right.
And they get you to click on a link, download a program, or enter your credentials, and that's where the attack really starts.
Yes, I have an example. Like it was turned out okay, but I got an offer from through a law firm the other day. And it came with a kind of nondescript PDF, right? And so instead of clicking on it, although I desperately wanted to,
Yep.
I had to. I phoned the lawyer and made sure that I made personal contact with her and kind of checked her on the lawyer lookup first, and then she's a real lawyer, so I called the number from the Law Society just to make sure that it wasn't like some kind of setup. Not that I really have that much to hack into, so to speak. But anyway, it was something that I did personally because I was afraid to click on something because the wording of the document didn't make any sense in relationship with the discussion, right?
Okay. And it turned out to be a scam after all?
No, it was a real good offer.
It was legitimate. Oh, very good. Yeah. And that's a great example. And so in Shield, I do a lot of the cybersecurity awareness training for our client staff. And that's one of the big things I tell them. If you're not sure, just ask. Like, don't use the phone number in the email.
Right.
If you're not expecting an email or an attachment or an invoice or whatever it happens to be, just call them. It's true.
Fine. Because I saw there was one where they were they changed the bank account on a transfer or something like that. They at City of Ottawa, I think it was, and they ended up sending like a bank transfer to nowhere, basically. Well, somewhere, obviously, but.
Yeah, in fact we had the exact same thing happen to a company here out in Portage Prairie, and they had contacted us after the fact to help them figure out what happened and how to prevent it from happening. But exactly that, someone had swapped in different information for
banking details.
Yeah, wire transfer, and
exactly.
They lost quite a bit of money actually.
Yeah. Well, I know I can see because the wire transfer can be pretty huge.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not like limited like my $2,500 bank transfer, $3,000, whatever it is now. Okay. And how have you been adapting to COVID? Has it been good for business, bad for business?
So, Shield Network specifically, we've had already been working from home for the last 3 or 4 years, so that wasn't a change internally. For our clients, we've been extremely busy helping them, get their staff working from home securely. So that's been the biggest thing. We've been very fortunate that the majority of our clients were essential services, manufacturers, transportation. So we've been very, very busy in spite of some of the other businesses I know that are so in such a bad state right now.
Okay, and what do you think? So you're in a competitive network, but obviously there's not enough. From what I understand, there's not enough people. So it's not super competitive. But what differentiates you from your competitors?
So we're in a little bit of a unique position because there are what they call IT service providers or managed service providers. There's quite a few out there. There are really high-end IT cybersecurity that help people like the Manitoba government and that sort of thing. So we're kind of in between. So we do offer IT services, but everything's through a security lens, meaning that if you come to us for an email solution, we're going to start from the ground up talking about security, like to make sure that you aren't reduce your risk for being hacked.
Right, and a lot of it's internal inside the person.
Yeah, a lot of it is, but there are some tools that need to be in place as well. So that's what really makes us different is just the fact that again we build everything from the cybersecurity perspective, and when I say that we're having a hard time finding people, it comes to having people that are knowledgeable in the things or in the weaknesses that are being exploited right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies can set up a computer for you, but the type of software that's on it, the type of access, how your network is set up to make sure that it's not being exploited is a whole other realm.
Right. Okay, so going back sort of more personally, you could be, obviously you work remotely, you could live anywhere. Why do you live around here?
That's a great question. So
I like to ask great ones. That's fine.
I don't know. My wife is from Manitoba. She's from Winnipeg. I'm personally from Texas. My daughter lives here. She's getting married next year, so I have a ton of family here. And honestly, we're big into hunting, fishing. We live just outside of Lebo. We just love the province and we love the people.
Yeah, I love it out here too. It's a fantastic place to live, especially in the summer. Like I always say, getting trapped here for the summer, so to speak, was amazing because people realize what a great place this is. Like June, July, August. I mean, where else in the world would be any nicer than this? Yeah. Really, we had a great summer, not too many mosquitoes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very nice this year.
Okay, so we're just right now. If you might watch this at any time, but right now it's around Christmas, just before Christmas, and we want to extend you and everybody at your company, the best for this Christmas, and especially for a successful 2021, because there's a lot of challenges in this world right now, but it looks like we're turning the corner with vaccine and other things like that. So
yeah, some big things coming up. Big changes on the positive side for sure.
Exactly.
Well, thanks a lot, George. And same
to
you and all your staff. It's fantastic.
Good.
I'm sure it'll be a prosperous.
It's been a fantastic year, and we hope it continues. Thank you very much.